gosh, where do I start? I have been working in archives professionally for more than 20 years now. And when I think of it like that, I think, wow, that's actually a while. But at the same time, it feels like it's not really been very long. So it's kind of one of those funny things. You've been doing it for a while. So I didn't actually intend to come to archives, but I found myself there, and that might be something that you've heard before. So my first sort of entry into archives was I was doing a bit of postgrad stuff, doing some qualifications in art history actually, and part of the placement qualifications was to work in an organisation to do a project. So I was placed at the State Library of South Australia to do a course that involved cataloguing artwork collection. But because I was sort of placed in the library setting, I was working in the team of archivists, and I just ended up being really fascinated by it. So I was just working with an archival collection, describing it, learning how to use a system, and I just kind of found myself really enjoying being in that environment and in the State Library environment, which of course has a published collection and an archival collection of Statiana material, South Australiana. And as it turned out, not long after I'd finished that piece of work, a role came up and I applied for it and won it. So that was my start. And I was there for 15 years. Learned on the job really about how to become an archivist, but having had an art history background, coming to it that way, I learned from my amazing colleagues who I worked with at the time, and then ended up becoming a member of the ASA. So that was my introduction to Australian Society of Archivists, and I was really interested in becoming professionally accredited. So I went through that process through the membership and was awarded the professional accreditation, which was a huge door opener for me. So that's how I sort of got myself involved in teaching part of the university course as well. My current role, where I've been, I can't believe it's already been, this is my 7th year. I'm now the college archivist at Prince Alfred College in South Australia, which is a independent school for boys. And within my role here, I was able to put my hand up to convene with ASA again, the South Australian Independent Schools Special Interest Group, or the SIG as we call them, the SIGs. And the SIGs are an excellent addition to people's roles in all of the different SIGs that we have, as well as the South Australian branch. The school SIG I've been now convening for quite a few years, and it's excellent because it provides what are usually loner rangers, like school archivists are often working on their own. There's another thing that ASA does so well is we advocate for archivists, and in particular the professional, more experienced ones. We can often help the people in roles of archivists that aren't necessarily with the same experience or qualifications. We can support each other, and that's that lovely thing about the ASA's advocacy. I think a bit of both. I think even though I had used archives in my undergrad and postgrad studies myself as a student at Adelaide Uni next door, Adelaide has this wonderful just happenstance of the precinct where we have University of Adelaide, State Library South Australia, Art Lab, Art Gallery. We're just right in that same kind of kilometre there on North Terrace. So I'd been lucky that I'd been sort of across the institutions as a student, and then as a sort of like emerging student coming out of postgrad and doing things like that. But I don't know if I fully appreciated what the archives were there at the State Library until I started working with them. And I think I say that to my students now. You don't know really much about archives specifically until you're working on it. It's very hard to teach that professional practice of working with archives unless you've actually got a box in front of you and you're doing an appraisal or something like that. So getting my hands on things, having spent some time at the art gallery describing artworks, sort of I'd had that experience of working with a system, just arrangement and description, just describing things into a system. But then when I was faced with a bit more of a challenge with having a group of things, and then I think, well, this is actually, I think I like this. This is good. I'm really enjoying this. I just felt really immersed, I think drawn in, and I didn't feel like I wanted to stop there. So when I could see that there was a role coming up, I just thought, yeah, I'm going to really go for this, because I feel like I've really found a little niche here. One of the best things I love about the website is, as a member, we have access to the most amazing publications. So our archives and manuscripts, it's like peer-reviewed, professional journal, being able to have access to that helps me with my work, and it also is really good for me to get my students to have a look at as well. So I can draw my uni students to the latest sort of like publications on what archivists are actually practically working on. And just knowing that our colleagues in the profession are incredibly skilled. They are amazingly skilled, and they can also write about it in this professional manner. So we're very lucky to have that at our disposal, and also to have it on file and accessible. But yeah, I think the networking thing and being able to just call on your professional peers for things and to be able to share as well. It's a special thing to have, because it does acknowledge your kind of like your work in the field. So yeah, ASA is good. And of course, you know, they advocate for you when you need it. One of the things is to make people that are thinking about getting into archives, or students, for example, who are doing the university courses, they can, through membership, but student membership, access these wonderful publications, and even just our information in the website that we have for our different special interest groups. But the publications, they can cite them in their work, and then that gives their work a special edge. When we go to market, we sort of think, oh, they're actually, yes, they are really interested in the latest practice in trauma-informed archival practice, or they're looking at things that, for example, the former president, Nicolas Laurent, has written in that space. So being able to talk about, yes, within our council and our members, we have some amazing professional archivists that are publishing in their space, and that you can look at that, and you can even think about publishing something yourself. So students can publish themselves, which is really great. And I definitely, if you want to write anything on school archives, that's an area that needs more publications. So definitely for that, we're looking for things like that too. So and what a great opportunity for a student to have something published, especially if they're looking towards, or they finish their PhDs, or that kind of area. Let's get that into our ASA. So it's just like, what can people bring to our profession that we can sort of get the most out of, and then if it comes out in publication, then that's great too. I think the main thing that I think is fascinating about archives is the diversity of practice. So we have a huge diversity of practice in our profession, and that will always mean that we have this great experience as a, collectively, which I find really quite fascinating too. 50 years we've been together. So this is really good. We do have a bit of a scaffolding, and I guess you never know what will happen. I think as well as AI being exciting, it will be a challenge for our profession. But I think it's mainly in just explaining that AI is not going to replace archivists. It can't possibly replace how the human mind can do arrangement and description. It might be able to help us though. And I think a lot of other professions are talking about things like, when the introduction of the floppy disk was such a risk, introduction of the calculator was a risk to math professionals, like that kind of thing. I think we need to sort of, and archivists are great at this. We're great futurists. We understand the future by looking to the past. And that sounds a bit corny, but it's so true. And I always say that to my students and also to my colleagues, if you if you want to know about the future, you need to look to the past, and archivists can help you because we're great futurists. But I think we can anticipate some challenges ahead with those things. But I think what the ASA will need to be on the front foot of is we need to retain our members. Because of the diversity, we need to provide them with enough interest to retain their interest in the organisation, but just to keep our members satisfied with what we can provide for them, but also ask them what they want. And if we're on the front foot of that, I think we'll go for another 50 years. You know, it's a great organisation to be involved in. And I think the more you put in, the more you get out of it with the council and with the SIGs. And I would encourage anyone to be involved in that. It's a good time to be in archives, and having 20 years behind me and hopefully being able to do another, well, God, at least 10, 15 years, you know, what's going to happen in that time. So it's really exciting.